Okay, here I am again on Elijah's Codes. Again with absolutely one of the key teachers in my life, ODED MANSURA. Hi, ODED.
Hi.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Pleasure to be here.
Hallelujah, of course, that means praise, Hallel, the God inside, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Totally inside, which is basically the male and the female. The God is a compilation of the male and the female, which is beyond the duality aspect of God, of reality, which is the Yod and Hey. We are praising the Yod and Hey. The Yod is the male aspect, the Hey is the female aspect.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, I never thought of that. But, and you know, it came to me quite a while ago, and I talked about it in my very first film. Well, the Keys of Enoch says that the history of the universe is coded into the Hebrew language, and also into certain words in the Aleph Bet. And it occurred to me that the Yah is a code for the Big Bang and everything that's come after the Big Bang, because it starts with the E. Okay, that single point, which in Hebrew is a hirik, well, it would be represented by a hirik or a yod, and then it becomes the that everything, that wide-mouthed everything, is light, according to many traditions.
Mm-hmm.
So that from that single point, the singularity, Yah, for me, I don't know, but it's what I sort of intuited. That Yah is a code for the Big Bang and everything that's come after the Big Bang. So who knows?
Well, there is, in the illustration of these letters is basically it's a form of a geometric form. You know, if I were to draw the Yod, this would be the Yod, which is the beginning of any letter.
The smallest of all the letters.
Yeah, now, which is basically the essence of a beginning. It's an essence of a starting point. It's something has started somewhere. And
like the singularity or the atom, or the smallest of the small.
And it has, this little dot, it has evolved, or it spread itself, to the different dimension, to the different realms, to have words created. And if we were to paint it, if we were to encapsulate it in a geometric form, I would, instead of creating a circle around it, I would create half a circle around it.
Okay.
And that gives us the letter Hey.
Okay.
Which indicates that there is the essence, the nucleus, and there is the outer shells.
The electron shells?
The electron shells that basically depicts all the eternal words, So the Yod and Hey are already, encapsulated into this figure, which is, it's like the male and the female aspect of God, are all together, coming into here. And this time specifically, oh, by the way, what's unique about this letter, just in general, what makes it so unique, other than all the other letters, except one specific letter in addition that maybe I should talk about it, is that it's a letter that if you were to write it, you have to lift your hand from the board. You can't write it in one draw.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, the only other letter the only way you can write it is by lifting your hand, is its sister.
Which is?
This letter, which is a divine essence, and
it represents God, just the letter
represent an
alone.
Eon. Yeah, I would rather call it an eon. An eon is a divine God coming from the center of the universe, that have chosen to plunge itself into the outer realms. So for that essence to plunge itself into the other realms, he is extending itself, into the outer universe, and we get the letter Kof.
Okay.
So these two letters, the Hey and Kof, Kuf, are basically the only letters that you, when you draw them, you have to lift your hand, and these are like brother and sisters, or like the two brothers. It's like two brothers, one from above, one from below. And this is the equivalent of Hevel V'Kain.
Ah, Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel, exactly. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what they, how their name begins with this letter, because they
Oh, yes.
represents the two polarizing forces from heaven and earth.
Okay, except that Cain is associated with badness and original.
It depends who you listen to.
But the kuf in that you just drew there, it's also the first letter in the word kadosh, which means holy. So it can't just be connected with the Canaanite element in humanity.
The polarizing forces of the letter Kof is the higher aspect is kadosh, which is holiness,
Yes.
but the lower aspect, what is it?
I don't know.
Based on Sefer Yetzirah, the klala,
The curse.
the curse. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the curse, and the curse.
And it's coded even in the very placement. It's the 19th letter, as you've taught me, in the Hebrew alphabet. And, you know, there are only 9 letters, starting with, you know, 1 is the lowest number, and 9 numbers. 1 is the lowest number, and 9 is the highest number.
Mm-hmm.
So it has polarity coded into its placement in the alphabet. Yes.
Yeah, everything is embedded there, and that which basically leads us to understand that these letters are energy essences, you know, that have many, many, many layers. And we want to delve into the depths of these in order to better understand, you know, the essence of creation and the essence of our everyday lives, and basically to put these energies to use on a daily basis.
Indeed.
You know, to better, you know, to enhance the quality of our life, and basically to be equal participants in this creation, because we have the power to create. Unfortunately, we've never been taught the power of this letter, so we are spreading and spitting, you know, words and letters and what have you, you know, with not exactly, you know, being aware of what we're putting out there. That's causing a lot of friction and chaos. So, as far as I'm concerned, as I've been taught, it's very sacred, and we want to be able to be more exact with how we use these essences. So,
well, you know, you talked about geometries. The Keys calls them living flame geometries, the Hebrew letters, and they have that power to change, to imprint us just by looking at the letters, whether we read Hebrew or not, whether we know what the word is or not, just by looking at these letters. Their flame geometrical essence will influence us. Isn't that right?
yeah, absolutely. Just by looking at them, it vibrates, and you somehow merge with it.
Yes.
Yet it has so many depths to it, and the more you are tuned to that, you know, the more you are in one with them, you are in atonement with them, and you then realize yourself. It's a wonderful way to learn to realize. You know, a pulse, and it says, Moses says, you know, he said that he has, you know, departed the seed, the otot u'vemoftim. Otot is like otiot,
Signals.
signals or miracle, and muftim, which is also another word for miracle.
Okay.
But But you see, miracles has a science behind it. You know, for us, things may appear a miracle, but those who perform the miracles, he knows the exact science, so for him, or for her, it's not a miracle.
Exactly. They know the laws beyond the everyday laws of the natural world. They know the laws that override the laws of Earth, yes.
Which basically associate or make us better understand that, you know, to be free, to really be free, you have to be conscious, you have to be awakened, you have to see, you know, you have to have the ability to see what is really there, because if you're ignorant, you cannot be free. And I don't care what you tell yourself, which means once you know the laws, once you know the science, then you're really free, because you have the capacity to choose. And that capacity, you know, basically puts you in a state of mind that you are far more responsible for your creations. And all this teaching is basically to make us understand that we have come here to the highest available school for godliness, to be God. And to be God, you have to be very, very responsible. And to be very responsible, you have to know the impact of working with this power so that you can attain these highest levels where you are creating worlds, where you are creating, you know, planets or universes. So you know where you come from, you're not just, you know, recklessly using them.
Indeed, and I do remember it says in the keys that, for instance, with the Kadosh, 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 Holy, Holy, Holy is the Lord of Hosts, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzavot, Melo Kol Haaretz Kvodo, they say that the higher celestial beings create worlds with that song or phrase. And it's incredible to think that with these letters and with this language, worlds are created. That's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, and I would like to, you know, in my quest for awakening is to be part of it, in a sense, you know. I don't want to rely on stories. I don't want to rely...
Neither do I.
You know, I want to be part of it. I want to see it with my own eyes, with my own senses, with my own body. I want to experience that. As I was fortunate, you know, in the year of 2002, you know, I really experienced what it's like to be in a parallel universe, what it's like to meet, you know, other beings, and what it's like to communicate, you know, on other levels of communication. So I have a first-hand experience which gives me the power, you know, to share that.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not really...
Indeed.
You don't have the backup, you know, seriousness.
If we're not experiencing it in our daily lives, then what's the point of hearing stories? I agree with that. So tell me, Oded, how do you enhance your life? Or let me put it this way. How could a viewer who maybe knows very little about the Hebrew language, maybe they know the alphabet, and maybe they don't, how could they begin to apply this knowledge? I guess they would start maybe by reading the Keys of Enoch, or what would you suggest?
Oh wow, it's a very complicated question, because it's just like, you know, asking them to study, you know, the science of the creation. You know, it's the science of a creation, and you have to want it. You know, if I know myself wanting it so much that it manifested in whatever forms. So for those who really want it, you know, it will be available for you, because first of all, things are far more available today than ever.
Exactly.
It's, you know, it's so much easier now to access, you know, and tap into the universal library, you know, and tap into things, but obviously you have to be aware of what we're tapping into. So if you really want to speak the language, I call it the language of letters, which I feel it's, you know, I don't think you can, I think it's for those who really are willing to be attuned and to be completely aligned with their divine self, and understand that the unified field, as I would like to put it, the unified field of this universe is in the letters. Because if you were, as we asked before, if you were God, where would you hide the secrets of this universe? My answer is, I would hide it in the language of mankind. I would hide it in between the words, in between the letters. So those who it appeals to them, then we have to make our search and put our attention and energy into the phrasing of letters and the phrasing of words, and basically watching how this alchemy, how these forces coming together, creating the alchemy that creates life. It's all in there. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that. You just have to stand in front of it with an open heart and basically put the energy there. And it will eventually unfold to you. It's available to anybody. You just have to redirect your energy properly.
I told the story once in one of my earlier films that I was lying on my stomach and my wife and baby were sleeping next to me, and I couldn't bother them. I didn't want to bother them, and I was in terrible pain. And I started diving into the letters of the name and the word Gabriel and calling on that at the same time. And the Gimel and the Bet and the Resh, and trying to dive into the letters and the sounds as deeply as I could. And well, you say life power, life energy is coded in these things, and it worked. And it was almost amazing. So that my experience is these things can work for us.
So you have tapped into
Yes.
the verbal sounding of
And the letters.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we combined, which is very, very powerful, because the sound, the original language of this universe is sound, before the letters has evolved.
Yes.
The primal sound, we call it. Maybe later I can tap into some of primal sounds, and we can, put it out. And then the letter evolved out of this sound.
Whoa, okay.
So it's very powerful to have that. I need something to erase that.
Try your hands.
No, I have it. Okay, so we are.
Remember, you wanted to talk about the Yod and the Ayin.
Yes, okay, so those of you that have been with us for the other interview, as you remember, I promised to talk about the essence of two letters that I found to be so much more important and so pivotal, specifically at this time, at this earthly time that are so unique. And these two letters that I want to talk about are basically emerged since the beginning of time. Through the narrative of the Old Testament, these letters, these two letters, these polarizing forces, these two letters have basically weaved their way from the beginning of time, from the beginning of this universe, all the way to this plane of existence, through the different stories. And basically show up a few of them. So I am to ask questions, basic question: what is the common denominator of Moses, of Isaac, the son of Jacob,
Isaac the father, pardon me. Isaac?
I'm sorry, Jacob and his brother.
Esau.
Esau, yeah, exactly.
Jacob and Esau, okay.
Esau, yeah. King David, that essence has pulled us through King David, and obviously through the name of the divine four letters of God.
Okay.
It's all embedded
the
in
Yod
there.
Hey Vav Hey, yes.
Yeah, within the Yod Hey Vav Hey is embedded this essence that has weaved itself bring itself down all the way to this plane of existence, that eventually, I can tie it all the way down through Jesus Christ,
Yes.
Christ, all the way down to Gila Shaliti.
Okay.
There is a common denominator, there is a thread that is connecting all these. Also, this thread is weaving itself through Noah and the ark, story. So these two letters have been hidden, and I was privileged, to awaken to see these letters, so I can put them into use on my daily basis within my life and my friends' life and whoever seek, help, because it's my personal opinion that a lot of our pains and aches and what have you, not just on a personal level but on a global level, because these two letters affecting our environment, our global level, that is affecting our personal life. So I don't think I'm too wrong to say that 80% of all our aches and pains and sorrows and what have you is as a result of our environment, is the misalignment and the imbalance of our environment that is affecting us because we are so aligned with it. So these two letters are basically creating this chaos, in a sense, within our immediate environment, and it is responsible for the wars that we are seeing, and it is basically tearing us apart.
So you're saying the tension between these two letters, or what they represent, is a cause for our conflict on the personal and the global scale. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
The tension between two letters, these two letters,
and what they represent, of
and
course.
what they represent, who would like to come into fusion, come into unity, but there's whatever reasons that I want to go into, some forces that keep them apart.
Okay, please explain, ODED.
That serves primarily some forces that are not too positive forces, but once we see how they keep the world in chaos, how they use it, we can, unlock it, or basically, undo it the way they do it.
Okay, please explain what you mean exactly. Okay?
Okay, so let's go back to the origin, and when I go back to the essence of the beginnings, I would call it, let's go to the nucleus, of all of everything. And the nucleus, in Hebrew, we put it in the letter, in the name nucleus, gal, in.
Okay.
Okay? So just by looking at that,
it means core or nucleus.
It means core, it means nucleus, essence.
Yes.
It is mentioned already in the biblical story, the Old Testament first chapter, on the third day, where God has created the seeds that give rise to trees, to fruit.
Right, like the seed or the seed crystal, the seed, yes.
Yeah, so this is the seed, and just by looking at that, this alchemy or this compilation of letters already, resonate and vibrate with information. Whether we have the key or we don't have the key, those who have the key can pick up this information and can basically, use that, for elevation, for higher elevations. Because the key understanding is that everything that you see or that you know is never what you think it is. This is like an axiom, it's never what you think it is. It's always so much more. It's always had depth and depth and depth of information. So that's basically just triggering us to further and further and further explore and to expand and so forth. So I saw these words 1,000 times, and it just were flat for me. But as I look into it, more and more, I can see that there is a question here. In fact, it triggers a question. And the question is being separated. We are here to separate it, separating here. And the question here is asking, who gar, nigar, ba'ain?
Which means
Who
lives
in the
I.
eye? Who lives in the eye? Now, in Hebrew, eye, it means the eye, our personal eye. And in Hebrew, the letter Gimel Resh means who lives there, who lives in the eye. Just to show this is an outside thing, the ayin is so important that in English, the letter I, this one doesn't work. The letter I is so much equivalent to the letter I. Have you thought about it?
Yes, yes,
exactly.
yes.
Which means there is a direct relations between the I and the I am.
And the I am.
The
Yes,
I
yes.
am that I am. When we say I am that I am, we're talking about an inner I.
Yes.
I am that inner I, and in spiritual, language, we know to talk about the third eye.
Yes.
But there's also a fourth eye
Okay.
that,
And maybe you mean the eye in the middle of the brain, the pineal gland with color receptors, and well, in any case, yes. Continue.
Yeah, I would call that the third eye.
Okay.
The pineal, which is also embedded and mentioned in the second phrase, of the Sefer Bereshit Perek Aleph. In Genesis, second phrase, it talks about the pineal gland.
How so?
No, I cannot talk about it.
Okay,
now.
another day. Let's save that for another
it's,
day.
It's well, I don't know. It's you have to evolve into
Very well.
thing that. Not that I'm hiding something. It's just that if I put it up front, it will mean nothing to you. But if you are,
Very well.
then okay. So this phrase is a very strong phrase, which means ger. When it comes to Abraham, God tells Abraham, ger yeh zaracha be'eretz lo lahem. Okay, ger, אומר לו, גימל רש. ger, which means it's foreign.
So it means also to live, and also the word foreign or strange, correct?
Yeah, it's a strange, and that's why Hagar, we have the name Hagar.
The wife
The wife
of Abraham, or the concubine of Abraham,
Yeah.
that was sent into the desert with her son Ishmael.
Ishmael. Son Ishmael, which is a key player, in this creation. We can.
You betcha.
So these forces are already intertwined, into just these basic words. So so the question, who lives in the Ayin? And this is how the masters, my guidance, talk to me. They present questions to me, and I'm supposed to answer that. And sometimes I would take hours, just to figure out the answer. And just by looking at it, you can figure the answer. But I already told you, you have to have open the child eyes. You cannot work with your mind. The mind will never allow you to the answers and so forth. So, and most times you will have the right answer even though you don't understand it. And it's okay that you don't understand it. Then that get us to the next level and ask the next question, what does it mean? And that's how, my evolution started. It's from one question to the next question to the next question, because it's all about the art of questioning. And in Hebrew, questioning is she'elah. What is she'elah? What's the message in she'elah? It means sha'ala. Sha'ala, in Arabic, it means the will of God.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Sha'ala.
Sha'a is the will, and Allah is God. Sha'ala. We
Okay.
say in Hebrew, Insha'Allah.
Or in Arabic.
Or yeah, we say in Hebrew, it's in Arabic, inshallah,
Okay.
which means with God's permission, or
Yes.
if it's the God's will. Or in Hebrew, we say Be'ezrat Hashem,
Yes.
which is equivalent, but it's all holding messages, you know. So if you just stop for a second just to see what's in there, you know, this is wonderful innovations. Okay, so the answer to these questions is embedded into this frequency.
Who lives in the eye?
Yeah.
Okay, so Yud-Hey Vav-Hai
Yeah.
lives in the eye?
No. The answer to this question is embedded, the same answers to the question is embedded in here. This is like a hint.
Okay.
I want to give you a clue or a hint to answer this one, what is in here.
Okay.
Because if it's a true answer, what I think, you know, the answer to here, then I have to back it up, you know, with other sources.
So you're backing it up with the Yud-Hey Vav-Hai?
Yeah, I'm backing it
But
up
first,
here.
give us the answer maybe. What is Migar Ba'ayin? Who lives in the ayin?
Okay, but
Who
I
lives in the
will
eye?
go into here, and then you will realize what is in here.
Very well.
And then we will see how it is tracing itself all the way through the narrative of the Old Testament to these days.
The answer to this question.
Yeah, the answer to this question that is, for me, the cause for the Third World War, that we're in the midst of it.
Because we haven't really answered it in a peaceful way or in a good way, maybe.
Some forces, you know, for whatever they are, I don't want to get into it, are holding these two letters apart. And as long as they are holding these two letters apart, we're in a turmoil.
The Yud and the Ayin. The two letters, right? Or not yet?
We don't know yet. Which
All right,
letters.
all right.
We want to find out. We don't want to guess, you know.
All right.
We want to find who lives in the iron.
Who lives in the eye? Yes.
Okay. Now, to better understand this frequency, this is the frequency. This is like, it's like a tuchnit. It's like a program.
Yes.
This thing. It's not a person. It's not a figure. For me, this is a tuchnit. It's a program for planet Earth that basically telling us, you know, if you want to better understand what is happening here, you have to, you know, the duality of this planet will describe itself in this form. You know, we have this in here, and then I have, sorry, go here, and then go here. No. This is the figure, you know, I want to show that. This is
Okay.
called, you know, this middle thing we call the vesica piscis.
I have a good one right up there if you want to use it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
right up there, which is, you know, it's one way of describing, you know, the merging of two polarizing forces that are creating, you know, a third component, which is
intersection.
allowing us to evolve and to transform into whatever we are. So I'm using that configuration to better understand, you know, who we are. So when I do that, I put that onto this name. So I take...
Okay, so the Vesica Pisces being the intersection between the two circles.
Yeah.
And that's bringing us forward in life, that
Yeah.
it's evolving us, that energy
Yeah.
zone.
That's where balance happens. That's our aim, to come in here. But right now, we're either here or we're either here. And like the pendulums, you know, we are going back and forth, so that eventually we will end up here.
Okay.
So we are in a world of an imbalance, which is okay, because if you were in balance, you won't be in this planet.
No.
Yeah, you won't, because the play of this existence, which means to be in an imbalance, so that you have the opportunity to balance things out.
Yes.
Once you balance things out, you're out of the game.
You're in another game.
Yeah, you're a whole different game for whatever it is, but right now. Okay, so just look into that configuration, and what do we make out of here? So we have to combine these two forces. So we have here, the Yod has combined itself with the Vav. The Yod, this one doesn't operate. So we have here, the Yod has merged with the Vav, and the Hey is collaborating with the hay.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Which is primarily female and male, the male and female. Okay? Now, what that tells us,
By the way, it looks male and female. A vertical line
Yeah.
for the one on the right, and more circular,
Yes.
wide receiving place.
yeah, the female is the capacity to hold.
Yes.
The male is the capacity to
Penetrate.
Penetrate, exactly. So, let's combine these two letters into one letter.
How?
Yod and the Vav. The Yod plus the Vav. What is the Yod? Its numerical value is 10.
Yeah.
And the Vav, its numerical value is 6.
Yeah.
10 and 6 is 16.
Because that's their placement in the alphabet.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's based on the placement. And 16th, we're looking what is the 16th letter.
The I.
It's the Ayin, yeah. Let's put here the Ayin. Now we'll do the same things here. The Hey, 5, numerical value 5, plus 5 ends up with 10. And the 10th letter in our scale is the letter Yod.
Oh.
So we see here, and we want to test that to see if it's really standing the test of time. There's two forces here, the Yod and Ayin, that are standing on polarizing ends, wishing to come together into this unity. But until they do that, because there's a major separation here, we are in a turmoil. So let's go back to here. When we say, who lives in the Ayin?
Who lives in the I?
Who lives in the eye? Who lives in the eye? You see the answer.
Okay.
The answer is the Yod. You see the Yod here? The Yod lives within the eye. Within the Ayin and Nun lives the Yod.
It's right in the middle.
Right in the middle. Right in the core essence of it. And so then
Also
we
in
have
the English word. The Y.
the Y, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Also here, we have that essence. So we have these two letters, depicting an essence or a nucleus that is basically put the message out there for us to see what we need to put together. So now,
Well, what does that mean? The Yod lives in the I. What does that mean, and what use is it?
okay, it's a good question. You have to ask the good questions for me to put the answers, because the question, the answers, every question pulls something else out of me, and I don't always know what comes out. I don't know what I have within, or whatever. I tap into universal, knowledge. So, what does it mean if you can put your questions together to have the Yod and I? So, let's see those two forces, from different angles, but all the way from the top to the bottom. The Yod and Ayin, all the way to the bottom, let's start with the bottom just for a second. It's the war between the Yehudi and the Arabi.
The Jews and the
The
Arabs.
Jews and the Arabs, for example. And the Arabs, Arabi, his purpose, it help us to understand his purpose, is to be Arab, is to be Arab.
Arab is a guarantor, isn't that
It's
right?
a guarantee to guarantee that the Yod is, fulfilling its purpose.
What is the purpose of the Yod?
The purpose of the Yod is to be completely aligned with all that is. It's not allowed to step, either to deviate from the path, either left and right. So to make sure, the Yod, to make sure that it's completely aligned on the path, he is calling forth this frequency, the Arab, the ODED,
The guarantor.
the guarantor, make sure that I'm completely aligned because I don't trust myself.
In other words, well, he gives us a beating if we don't do what we're supposed to do.
Exactly.
And,
the yod,
and that certainly has been going on.
obviously. And the yod is far beyond being a Jew or a Yehudi.
Yes, that's
it's
right.
the yod and ein within every person on this planet. But it manifests itself in the drama on this planet as the Yehudi and Arabi, and as the longest, I think, war that we know of between the Jews and the Arabs.
Well, since Ishmael and Isaac, I guess.
From the very beginning. This war has started from the very beginning when Ishmael, and look, Ishmael is holding the frequency of the Yod and Ein within his name, Ishmael.
The ancestor of all Muslims, Arabs, as well.
Ishmael. We have here these two Yod Ein embedded. That has descended into this plane of existence, and it has weaved itself through the different narrative of the Old Testament. For example,
Esau and Yaakov.
Esau and Yaakov, Yaakov ve'Esav, nachon?
Yeah.
Jacob and Esau. In Hebrew is Yod and Ein. There's two forces splitted, which means this dot has splitted itself just to find itself reuniting, down here. So we have splitted the forces just to bring it all together here, to close the circle.
Yes.
To come into unity. What else?
But I think it's important to point out that the purpose of the Yod, which is straightness or directness to God, is encoded in specific Hebrew words like Yashar, meaning straight,
Yashar.
or Yisrael, which has the word Yashar at the beginning, meaning straight to God. That's one of the ways we know that the Yod represents straightness because of the Hebrew words. We're not making it up, but it's coded in the language.
Yeah, in this geometry form, the Yod would sit here, and the Ein fills all the space. The Ein is all the surrounding. Okay, so these are the two opposing forces of the inside versus the outside.
Okay, and again, and in the eye you have the black pupil in the middle of the eye, which is like a yod.
The black. Yes.
And ayin being, of course, the first letter in the word orev, which is guarantor. Yes.
Yeah, orev, guarantor, and let's understand other stories.
Interesting. Even in the Native American mythology, orev, aside from meaning guarantor, means crow.
Yeah.
And for the Native Americans, the meaning of the crow is the law. He makes sure that you keep the law.
Exactly.
So even totally separated cultures, which are connected in any case, as I've spoken, they have the same meaning for the concept of Orev is crow. So we have the same understanding of the crow and
the crow. The crow is playing a major role in Noah's Ark. Noah has released from his ark the crow, Oreb, and then he released the Yonah, the Yod.
Oh, isn't that interesting? My!
It's a major key players to understand the forces of this universe.
Crows are amazing for anybody who's read the teachings of Don Juan, the Mexican shaman. Mm-hmm. The shamans become the crow. So the crow is an amazing thing. Yes.
Yeah. It's amazing.
A very important thing.
And we allowing us to see it from a different angle that is giving us so much more information. Let's see how this relates to King David, for example.
I just a little thing. I recommend the Emerald Tablets by Thoth the Atlantean, which is now free on the internet. And they talk about the island of the priests, the Unal or Undal, I get them confused. In the very first chapter, it was divided between like the spheres of the brain. There was one group that lived on the right side of the island, one group that lived on the left side of the island, and one group whose job was to be in the middle and the balance. And it's just very interesting, the similarity of what you're saying here to what's described in the first chapter of that book. In any case.
Let's see, how is Moses, connected? What's Moses' part into bringing the Yod and Ayin together?
Yes.
So,
Beats me. Okay.
Moses is the, is like, when the Yod and Ayin, merge, when they come together, we see the fruit of it.
Then you see a healthy eye.
Then
Because
you
if
see-
ayin also gars in the eye, not just the yud. Wouldn't you agree that the ayin lives in the eye as well because it's one of the letters?
Yeah.
So they're both
No.
living in the eye.
The
And so
the
if
eye.
they're not in good connection,
The Y in English is equal to the I in Hebrew.
right? But they're both in there. The ayin is the first letter.
Mhm.
And so if they're not in a good connection, then you have a diseased eye.
These are exactly. Yes, and Moses is have come here, to show us and lead us into bringing these two forces together.
Or you have an evil eye.
Yeah. There are so many, the letter I or the meaning of I is associated with so many interactions, from the good, from the bad, and for what have you.
And it's all powerful. You know, the eye. I mean, what's more powerful? Jesus, his most powerful way of healing people was how he looked at them. The eye is all powerful.
You remember this symbol? You know this symbol?
Yes, of course. It's the all-seeing eye, is it not?
The all-seeing eye, and it's printed on the American dollar.
It's the Freemason symbol.
Yeah.
Ooh, for the Freemasons.
Yeah. So they
Well,
have
they
known.
were good at one time. I think they were good at one time. But they're not today. Anyway, let's
Yeah,
go.
they have known the power of all this, and they have used that, they have misused the power.
In my opinion, yeah.
Oh, for sure. Just like, they have misused this power.
Yes.
How do you misuse this power, It's very simple. You take,
Well, do you want to say it? We don't want people getting any ideas, right?
okay, we'll use that for other times. Anyway, Moses, we're at Moses,
Okay.
remember. Moses is the fruit of a father and a mother.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, his father, his name
Ah.
is Amram.
His father,
His
Amram.
father Amram, and his mother Yocheved.
Okay.
Yocheved.
Oh, isn't that interesting? It's the contradiction. I mean, Amram is. You would think the Yud represented the male, but it's not the case. The Yud represents the mother here. Interesting.
Yeah, it keeps switching.
Okay.
So his father and mother is coming from the Yod and Ayin, and he's the outcome of how it could be. He's an excellent example of how when the Yod and Ayin come together to give us also, from here and from here. How about David? What David has to do with the Yod and Ayin? How David has put his efforts into bringing together, the Yod and Ayin, through the Old Testament narratives, we're seeing all these biblical figures, putting their energy and putting together the Yod and Ayin together, so that eventually, we close the circles and we're coming into the nucleus of who we are. David's father is Yishai,
Oh yes.
and Yishai's father is Oved.
Ah.
Okay, so this is the lineage. He's coming from the lineage of Yud and Ayin.
Oh wow.
Which means it's not just going sideways, going also, ups and down. So, so we have here when we have David here, the lineage of Yishai. When we David, we have the letter Yeda, knowledge.
Oh wow.
Okay, and we have Yehud. a purpose.
Oh yes, yes. Life or like life purpose.
Yeah, life purpose. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and David is an excellent depiction of that, King David. So that's the Yod-Ayin through David, through Moses, through Noah, through the holy name of God we've talked about, and through obviously when Moses was about to die, he went to his Joshua, and he told him, what did he tell him? He told him, from now on, Joshua Binu,
Yes.
his name was Hoshea. So Moses got to him and told him, from now on, your name is no longer Hoshea, from now on, your name is Yehoshua. He added the Yod, so that he is will be aligned and putting together. He has enshrined him into this universal effort of putting the Yod and Ayin together.
Okay. And of course, this is the Hebrew tradition sometimes to add a letter because the letters are so enormously powerful, which is why Sarah had to have and Abraham, right? It was Abraham who had to have the hay added to his name. Correct? And Sarah...
Well, he had to have... Well, that's a whole different story, why Abraham and Sarah, had to have their name changed. Because Sarah, she was Sarai, she had the Yod.
Oh, yes.
Now, the Yod is a male energy. She cannot conceive.
No baby, yes.
No baby. This is male energy. So, her frequency was so high, was so intense, that God had to lower her vibrations. He lowered her vibration -5.
And this is the power of the Hebrew letters.
Yeah.
Here, in real, a practical, which is why their names will change.
Yeah. Sarah -5.
Okay.
Why -5?
Because hay is 5 less than Yod.
Is hay. So Yod -5 is hay.
Whereas
this 5,
yes,
this 5 that was taken from Sarah
was given to
was
Abraham.
given to Abraham, exactly. So that the weight of the name, altogether is the same, but the balance is different.
Okay, this is a little aside. Maybe
This is a side story.
it was a little incorrect, but I wanted to point out how the immense power of the Hebrew letters is coded into the Bible stories.
Completely. Oh yeah, the whole biblical story, as I see it, it's just my personal opinion, it's just a reason to bring the power of the forces of the universe, to create words, teaching us that we have that within our reach, if only we were tuned into that and understand and better understand the power that is within our name. We carry a name, and this name is the key to unlock the doors to heaven and to our eternal essence. Yet we know nothing about it because no one bothers to teach us this.
Exactly.
Why teach you, such a powerful tool? No one wants you to be stronger than him. Which is a part of a bigger picture that we have been enslaved, just to see that we can free ourselves from this enslavement. So this is a wonderful tool to free ourselves from this enslavement, to do that.
But how, ODED? Okay, it's all wonderful and interesting, but let's say I work a 9-to-5 job, and maybe my name has a Yud and an Ayin, and maybe it doesn't. How can I use this power?
Better not to have it. Because you have a very contrasting powers in your name, and it most likely will cause a lot of confusions.
Okay, fortunately I don't have it.
But I'm sure at the same time that...
What?
So I think I know what's your question. Maybe you want to complete.
How could somebody use this info about the Yud and Ayin to make a practical difference in their lives?
Basically, every letter of your name, let's say this is your, whatever name is, every letter of name has has a direct communion or direct communication with the divine, with your root of your soul.
All right.
Okay? We call that, every letter has a ladder, a ladder that connects you. We call that Jacob ladder.
Okay.
Connects you to your divine self. Your spirit have descended into here through this ladder.
Of your name.
Of
Yes.
your name, through every letter of your name. Every letter of your name has a ladder down here. And once this ladder is open, you can climb up, as it depicts itself in Jacob's story, where he saw these visions, and God's angels are climbing up the ladder and coming down the ladder, which means when this path is completely open, you are free. This is freedom.
All right.
But on this plane of existence, there is one, one steps here. And this ladder is Yod and Ayin. And this step is broken. Completely broken. For each one of us, we have come here with this. It breaks just for us to correct this.
In
so
every
we can
person.
further.
In every person, almost, it's
In every
broken.
person. Almost
And whether
guaranteed.
they have those letters in their name or not.
Exactly, it has nothing to do, because every letter in your name consists all the 22 letters.
Okay.
Consists all the letters, and all these steps in your ladder are pairs of Hebrew letters,
Well,
or
we are-
English letters, or what have you. It doesn't matter. It's pairs.
Okay, wait. We are holograms. So that means it's all inside of us, as Deepak Chopra and other great teachers, if we are holograms. Then all the letters are inside of us. But what if you have what if it's an English name? What if you don't have a Hebrew name? So how do you relate to all this?
I will find the equivalent of the Yod and Ayin.
Okay, yes.
Because the Yod and Ayin, why is it so important? Because let us remember that God in the second day, what has God created in the second day? He created a rakia,
The void.
the void. You see, the Yod Ayin in the void, he said, if you want to reach the void, the rik,
The empty.
the void, the emptiness,
The only, yes.
there is a gate here. There are two guards sit on this gate, which is the Yod and Ayin. Once you cross that, you can merge into the void, into unity with all that is.
Just like they sit on the gate of the Garaim, the Garim,
Oh,
the
yes.
Ayin Yodad, who live in the eye, they sit on the gate in there too, but if they're broken or separated.
Completely broken. And I always like to see that, have a direct relation of that into the physical body. Because if it's there, it's here.
Yes.
It's here. It's here. Now, where would that be in this body? Where these two guards sits?
The two letters.
These two letters. Where is our rakia? איפה הרקיע שלנו? Firmament. This is the firmament.
The void, if you will.
The void
also.
that separates us from the divine and from the lower self. It sits in one place in your body. Once you connect it, you are ascending to your divine self.
So where do the Yud and the Ayin sit in the body that we have to unify if we want to go up and down?
It sits exactly in a place where it was said about this place, and it was hinted about this place. One of our scholars who said that כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד.
That was Rabbi Nachman.
Rabbi Nachman.
All of the world is a narrow bridge.
It's a very narrow bridge, and when you cross that bridge, you come into eternity.
And yes.
And he completes that sentence, and he says, and the main point is not to fear at all.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of fear there.
This is the song that a lot of religious Jews, they sang and they danced to it as they walked into the gas chambers. They knew they were about to be murdered. And they understood that all the world is a narrow bridge. And the important thing is not to fear it all.
Okay, but
Because
that bridge is what separates us from who we are, and we want to cross that bridge by putting it together. Fixing this bridge that has been broken, This bridge, the Arakia, the Yod Ain, sits in one place in your body. For me, I got this information, by the way, from the divine self of Mother Earth. I
Okay.
was privileged to meet for exactly 1 second the divine self of Mother Earth, and I was given a lot of this information from that split of a second. And Mother Earth told me that I'm rebuilding that bridge, and that bridge sits in one place in your body. It is that bridge that is connecting and separating the head from the heart, and this is this area.
The narrowest, the
The
narrow
narrowness.
bridge, the narrowest part of our body.
Exactly. So, to make a long story short, the Yod, it sits right in here.
And that's coded in the English language too, is it not, ODED?
It's encoded because there is a bone here in the English that is called in anatomy, a
Yes.
bone, very sacred bone, it's called the hyoid bone.
Well, you mean the thyroid? Oh,
And what is
yeah,
hyoid?
which is connected to the thyroid, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. And the hyoid means hayod.
And we also talk about iodine,
Iodine.
which
for
in
sure.
Hebrew is called yod.
Yod, calls yod, so it's all in here. And this bone is so important that when it's balanced, it aligns your whole, every bones in your body with, aligned it with all the rest of the bones, so it builds a sort of a bridge. Your bones is a sort of a bridge. A bone is an essence, okay? So that thing here, and it sits exactly on the thyroid gland. If you were to ask me, 99% of people on this planet, including me, we're having problem with our thyroid in a sense, whether you admit it, whether you feel it, or what have you, because planet Earth is going through thyroid adjustment.
Okay.
Okay, right in here, which is responsible primarily for chiluf chomarim. Chiluf chomarim is metabolism.
Exchange of chemicals in the body.
Exchanging chemicals in the body,
Metabolism.
and realigning all the hormonals,
Yes.
addressing. Because what is metabolism, or in Hebrew, chiluf chomarim, which means changing the densities of the matter and making it lighter and lighter and lighter. Changing the densities into higher frequency vibrations.
Okay.
And it's all in here. Okay, so that's where we're going. That's why, and right in here we have the most sacred power of speaking,
Yeah.
of voice. That's why we see, the gods, in a sense, human gods on this plane of existence are who? Are primarily famous singers.
Ah, yes. Yes.
They have millions of people, worshiping them in a sense.
Yes.
They have this power, they have tapped into this power, and look what it does, this power.
Indeed, indeed.
So it is all connected. And at the same time, the Ain sits right at the back here,
Okay.
which is called the back of your neck, which in Hebrew is Oref,
Oref, the guardian.
the guardian.
His hand is on the back of our neck, if you will.
And in Hebrew, Oref turned itself to be the pharaohs.
Oh, it's the same
The
letters.
same letters, when changed, the pharaohs, the paro. Okay?
So he was on the back of our necks,
Or the back of
literally.
the neck,
Of the Jews
Of the Jews.
who fled, the Israelites, not just the Jews, who were delivered from Egypt with Moshe.
Yeah, and it is said in the Bible quite a few times, God tells Moses or who tells any of the prophets, that my people they're stubborn, which means they have
Stiff neck.
stiff neck, okay? So there is constant, addressing these issues of these. This is the gate. Once you open this gate, we are free and going up to the fifth dimension.
The gate between the front of the neck where the yod is and the back of the neck,
Yes,
where the hand of Pharaoh is,
exactly.
metaphorically, where the guarantor is. He makes sure we do what we're supposed to do, or he gives it to us on the back of the neck.
He makes sure that we are attuned to the proper frequency, because if you cross over with and not carrying the proper frequency, we will be burned on the spot. So we better have someone watch over us, make sure that we are so much aligned and so much, clear. So when we cross over, we can withstand this frequency, because the frequency is so high. And we call that crossing over the fifth dimension. Crossing over to the fifth dimension.
We have to heal that place in our neck.
In our neck, which is the fifth chakra.
Which is the fifth chakra.
So you see the five, how the five is connected, the fifth chakras, the fifth dimension. Sarah, -5.
Yes.
That's
Sarai.
Sarai.
-5 becomes Sarah.
Sarah, yeah, exactly. Sarah, that was a handover to Abraham.
The hay, she gave the hay.
The hay, she gave the 5.
To Abraham, and then they could
Exactly.
have the baby. I just want to say this. For me, in my life experience, my place of breakage was not so much in the neck, but for me, all my life it was in the second chakra area, which in Hebrew is the sphere called Yasod. Okay?
Yeah,
Sod would be, which in English would be the secret of the Yod. Okay, that would be the translation.
Yasod.
The Yasod. For me, that was my great split all of my life. And in the great book of Barbara Marciniak, Bringers of the Dawn, it said the Pleiadians, it's a channel book, the Pleiadians say that the great blockage of males on this planet is exactly in the second chakra, the Yasod Sphera, and for the women, the great place of blockage is the throat. So isn't that interesting? And for me,
it makes sense.
And the women, of course, were repressed and could never speak their truth. And so they're blocked in the throat. Whereas the men maybe have one thing on their mind. And so they're blocked,
Which is old programs. Again, programs that have been embedded in our consciousness to suppress us.
Indeed.
When your power are all, suppressed into the second chakra, then you are a slave to your, desires.
Indeed.
We call that the temptation. This temptation, as you mentioned, is consolidated into a pair of letters in the Hebrew, which is the mem and nun. When you see the letter mem and nun, or mem and nun, it means we have 3 tikkunim. We have min,
sex. Well, tikkunim meaning 3 places that need correction.
Big time.
Big time. One is sex.
Min, mazon.
Food,
which is the third, is here,
Yeah.
And mammon.
Money.
And money. This is the 3 MN.
They all need big correction if humanity is going to go forward, that's for sure. But yet, it's also a great sacred combination. Like God sent us man from heaven, manna, as we say in English. And in so many different cultures, that combination of mem, nun, or nun, mem, is so sacred, like Sat Nam.
So sacred, exactly.
Or the word Vietnam, or...
the more sacred it is, the more it has a lower vibration hold within it. The more sacred, just like HaKadosh holding the curse,
yes.
Amana holding the need, holding the temptation, because having the highest form of force is very tempting, to get there not prepared. So, you get consumed by this power and you're losing yourself.
So the highest has to have its balancing aspect, which is the lowest. Like man himself, yes?
Yeah. Anyway, I want to wrap it up, so...
But wait, how do we heal the Yod and the Eye?
The Yod and Eye? You're insisting. As we said,
Well, we don't want to leave them out there with their Yod-Ayin bridge, their
I know, yeah.
narrow bridge split.
To heal the Yod-Ayin, you basically have to create this sacred geometric form that is a powerful tool that tells us whatever is broken, let's fix what is broken.
By the way, this is not a specifically Jewish form.
Oh no.
Though it is on the flag of Israel, it is connected historically. It was in ancient Egypt, it was in Atlantis. In all the cultures that understood sacred geometry, this is key, this form.
This is key, that says as above, so below.
Yes.
You know, it's these two forces, you know, merging, causing the basic opacity just like this one.
Yeah, in a different way.
In a different way. So we want to balance the Yod and Ayin, so all you do, you put the Yod in here, you put the Ayin in here. Okay, you want to balance it. Where do you want to balance it? In the first letter of your name, the second letter of your name, and the third letter of your name.
Okay, I know we spoke about doing other things, but since we're talking about Yod-Ayin, then let's explain how we could heal this aspect.
So basically, let's take Eliyahu. I put the Aleph, the first letter of Eliyahu, and I put it in here. And this is, I create here a circle, which is create the planet Earth, you know. And I would draw in here another, again, the Vid, as symbolic for the holographic aspect of this universe. And within here, I put the letter Lamed.
Lamed being the 12th letter, connected to light,
Exactly.
connected to illumination. It's the letter that it even looks like a lightning bolt in a way. It looks like it's bringing down the highest info from above to below, which is the earth. Exactly. And then back up again if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Connecting heaven and earth.
Yes.
The 12th letter, 12 being the number built, this universe, this world is built on 12, so, okay.
So then you fill in the other letters.
The other letters of what?
Based on the 12. Based on the 12.
Meaning what?
Meanings. Taf, David, and here we have.
Oh, well, of course I don't get where you're getting these letters from.
Yes, it is based on wills within wills.
Do we have to have these letters? Can we give a simplified version and leave these letters out?
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can leave those out.
Well, for now, at this stage of the teaching,
at this stage of the
for
teaching,
a very, very general audience, so Lamed will always go in the middle. And so, again, what we have is the Yud and the Ayin at the bottom, and the first letter of your name. In my case, it's an Aleph at the top, and the sacred letter Lamed of light, or of, also in Hebrew, there are
primarily the Lamed for me is is depicting the 12th dimension of existence.
Okay.
Okay, because it's the 12th letter. Okay, it's the law of the density of this universe. It's holding the law of the densities of this universe.
The word law itself beginning with L, which is these things are never by accident, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what do I do with this?
What you do with it, you draw that, and just understand that it's a frequency that is like a medicine. This is
all medicine
a pulse.
is.
It's a pulse. It's a vibration that is resonating with your inner core. Your DNA know how to recognize this, and will use that, for aligning what needs to be aligned within. So draw that, hold it always in your pocket, next to your body. That's one aspect. Another aspect, when you go to sleep, always put it next to you. And take a jar of water and place it above this symbol. It's a medicine, it's like an homeopathic medicine. And then, and the fourth one is once a day at least, just stop everything you're doing and just align yourself with this vibration. Put yourself in the middle of this symbol, okay? And
Okay.
have the Yod and Ayin, you know,
Twirling around you.
twirling around you as your core self is the letter Aleph.
If that's the first letter of your name.
Yeah, of
If the
whatever.
first letter of your name is Steve, then you would draw a Samech.
A sum, yeah.
Okay, you would have to know how to convert the English letters to the Hebrew letters, which is basically simple when you know the Hebrew letters. So I would imagine, okay, Oded, I imagine myself standing in front of a giant Magen David, a big Magen David,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Let's say I imagine the Lamed and going over my whole body, or in my heart chakra, or whatever is good for me. I hold a Yod in my right hand,
Yes.
an
Yod in
Ayin
your
in
right
my left hand,
Ayin in your left
and I would imagine an Aleph where my 8th chakra is, for instance.
Yeah. The best way is to imagine yourself right in the middle, and this is, you see a column of light. This is the Aleph, and there around it you have, you know, two sparring forces. You have the Yod, you know, and the
Okay.
Ayin. And
Oh,
the Ayin,
that's easy
you know,
enough, right?
It is ups and down, causing the double helix.
And you're the Lamed, you're the bridge between heaven and earth.
Yes.
Our bodies are the Lamed, we are the bridge.
The whole
between-
body is the Lamed.
we are the bridge between heaven
Yeah.
and earth.
The Lamed is the law, is the ground.
The light, or
The
whatever.
light, the ground that this is operating.
Okay.
Okay, so we finish here. Maybe I
I would love you.
will make some sounds.
Okay, I would also love to have you back.
To
I
have.
mean, to have you back sometime. As it flows, but
Yeah, as it's
But,
flows, yeah,
um,
we will continue, you know, with our lessons. So, one powerful way, very powerful way to realign ourselves, opening that bridge, is using your voice.
now they worked on your voice, didn't they? I mean, you have stories about how they did
Oh yeah,
all
yeah.
kinds of things on you.
Yeah, all kind of things. So I will give you some examples of how flexible your voice can be if you're willing to take the risks to, you know, to make things come to you without you having to judge it, without you restricting yourself or holding yourself.
All right, but don't just give an example. Give us something that will bless us, and maybe that will have a healing influence
Okay.
on all of us.
Okay, excellent. So let us tune in and ask to open that bridge within us so we can better align our heart with our head, so they can better cooperate and we can be fully conscious on both or on any plane of existence.
Amen.
I'm going to make few sounds. I allow free flow of whatever sound is ready to come to spread whatever frequencies can help us to realign ourselves with who we are and to heal ourselves. So if you have any pains, if you have any emotional issues that are stuck within yourself, just tune into that and allow that sound to dissolve that, and that's what the sound will do. Sound are very powerful. They can heal and they can kill at the same time. So we want to address the positive aspect of sound. Yeah, oh yeah. Wow. Yeah.
My God. Jesus.
Okay, well, I want to thank you all for being with us, sharing with us.
Oded, 1 minute about that, please. I just want to say that for me it brings up a lot of deep stuff. Releases helps me to release. Stuff that doesn't usually get released. And I feel lighter right now. I feel lighter. And it's a great feeling, deep release.
Oh yeah, it activated primarily the glandular, systems in the body, and it's a major cleansing. Yeah, I use it for powerful cleansing, of breaking loose, stuckness and things that get stuck in our auric field, in our even density within the body.
And like I said earlier, spirit beings have given you this.
Yeah.
You weren't always able to do these things.
Oh, absolutely not. If don't try. I already I want to mention it's really important not to try to make it because it can burn your vocal cords.
Yet they can join when I wasn't planning to sing. Well, if you can call it that.
I mean,
I wasn't planning to join in, but they could join in their
yeah, they can join in and just do it very gently, until eventually, this bridge eventually releasing itself. And you can make low, deep sounds, that go all the way resonating with your first chakra.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you force it, it will cause, tension and aches and pains in the throat chakra. So we don't want that.
Okay. Well, that was amazing.
Excellent. Yeah, it was a pleasure for us to be here with you.
And the us. Oh well, I should ask you about that us.
Us. Oh yeah, it's all in there. The U.S. The us.
again, the consciousness of we, you're talking about,
Yeah.
and that could be a whole nother show, actually.
Yeah, it's a whole nother show. We talked about it.
About being in the consciousness of anachnu, of...
Yeah. Why the us has to be in Jerusalem, in the USA.
Yes.
You have the US, the us.
It even has Jerusalem, it even has the USA. And
Yeah.
the keys talk about that. There are no
Oh
us.
yeah. So it's all in there, which is primarily the collective consciousness, the codes that help us to resonate and awaken our collective consciousness, primarily the fifth dimension, and so forth.
Whoa. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ODED
You're welcome.
MANSURA.
MANSURA.
With that mem nun.
Memnon, oh yeah. Amen. What is amen?
Amen. Oh yeah, no,
You know what
absolutely.
amen is to be amen, to be above, elevated above the temptation of the memnon.
Of the mem nun.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then it becomes the sacred mem nun. The amen, like the satnam. Then it becomes the sacred aspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you again.
Very good.
Thank you, all of you out there. God bless you all.
Cool.